Hi, I'm Tony Lacantro and I'm at the RIU Explorers Conference Junket here in Fremantle. And I'm joined today by Mr. Rudolph van Niekerk from Kalium Lakes, code KLL. G'day, Rudolph.
G'day, Tony.
Hey, now potash. Probably not the most sexy sector of resources, but I believe there's a handful of companies operating the sector and you're one of the first. So why should we be looking at Kalium Lakes?
Yeah, Kalium is definitely maybe not your gold or silver or precious metals people are used to, but definitely looking at a commodity that's being used in Australia. So Australia uses about 70,000 tonnes per annum of SOP in particular, with no local producers. So I think there's a definite gap in the market for a first producer to come up and supply the local market.
Okay, so who in the race to become first, who's going to get there?
Everyone asks that question, don't they? For us, we like to talk about our project and where we are in the process. We have hit some quite significant milestones for ourselves. So we finished basically all the study stages we need to do to get to bankability. In September last year, we finished our bankable feasibility study. And since then, we've been doing a few things, including early works for construction, a bit of a front-end engineering to do a few more optimization opportunities for the project, but most of our efforts gone into the financing side of things. So if you're following us, you'd see that the ministers today announced that we have been approved a NAIF, a Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility loan for $74 million. Now that doesn't give us all of the debt funding we need, but it gets us pretty close to half of what we need at the end of the day. And yes, there's a bit of documentation and state approval behind that, but it's a significant milestone for us.
Is that much better than your traditional bank debt?
Yeah, it is much better. Good tenor. So I think if you look at the announcement today, it talks about 15 years, good interest rates, so good repayment terms, and really focus from the NAIF point of view on infrastructure that supports the public benefits. So things like the gas pipeline and the power station and the road. Now, by having that as part of our project profile, we can actually lower our operating costs. So we drop our operating costs by anywhere between $35 and $65 a tonne.
Yeah, I think what I learned from my previous interview with APC was it's all about the logistics.
That's right,
and
yeah.
The mining and the salt process is pretty simple, but if you've got the logistics.
Sort you out. I think in our case, our benefit is we're very close to the Great Northern Highway. So we're only 78 kilometres east of the Great Northern Highway. The benefit we've got from that point of view is firstly proximity to the gas pipeline because it runs along that same highway. But with that sealed road, you have about 400,000 plus tonnes per year of ammonium nitrate that's trucked up north to all the mining operations. And those trucks go back empty to Perth. So we only need about 2 to 3 of every 16 to 17 trucks that comes past our gate empty every day to bring our product back to Perth. So that's our big advantage, really.
Okay, I guess it's one of those sectors where it's not about the exploration, it's all pretty much done. It's about banking dollars, and that's what investors like to see. So
yeah, I think exploration in this one is important. It's a brine resource that people don't always understand or try to get their heads around. In terms of, we talked about firsts just before, Kalium's got the only and the first reserve that's done in the brine resource for SOP in Australia, and that's quite tricky. It's actually not that easy to, it's much easier or much better understood of going from a resource to a reserve on hard rock mining. But on brines in particular, the sort of brine resources we're looking at, it's something that has not been commonly done in Australia and most parts of the world as well. So from a bankability point of view, our project is stacking up technically quite well, and coming back to why Australia, why potash, and why for us, well, we've also been engaging on all the other fronts. So we've got all of our native title approvals in place on an environmental, federal, government level. We've got those approvals in place. State government approvals have all been submitted, so we're looking to get all those approvals through in the second quarter of this year. But on the offtake side of things, we've been talking to K+S. K+S is Kalium salts, or potassium and salt. They're the largest salt producer globally, but also the largest SOP producer out of China. We've got a term sheet with them where they agreed to take 100% of our product for the first 10 years of the startup volumes. Following the term sheet that we've signed with them last year, they've completed a full technical due diligence, which has been passed positively, and we're in the final stages of negotiating the offtake agreement with them now. So pretty well on track to start construction during the first half of this year for our project.
guess it's a case where a lot of people in the small cap sector like to lose their money quickly, like they can lose 80% quickly, or they could buy something like Kalium Lakes and make it a couple 100% slowly. To me, it sounds like a no-brainer, but I guess you're not providing the adrenaline, dopamine rushes, so people got to, when you're real, you've got to go through those stages, and you're certainly getting through them. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much, Danny.
No worries.
Good.